Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Owens.
Dr. Owens, what is the damage on soft tissue damage when an auto accident occurs?
Okay, first off let's talk about what soft tissue is. Soft tissue is the muscles, the tendons, which is the end of the muscle where it attaches into the bone, the ligaments, which are our supportive structure which go from bone to bone, and the discs, which are the pads in between the bones.
Okay.
So, soft tissue damage can occur basically when you're hit. There's some variation, but your head can go, in most accidents where the person is rear-ended or front-end, something else, the head goes forward and then backwards into a hyper, meaning too much flexion forward, hyper, too much extension going back. As we get into the too much, that's where things tear. Here you can see a picture of a torn muscle here, and that would be a very significant tear there. But these are the kind of conditions we see after car accidents. When the head moves backwards, these muscles can tear. Here is an example of a ligament that's torn, and this is the knife-shaped ligament that goes down the back when your head goes forward. That can tear. Here's an example of all little intricate spinal ligaments that can tear. When these tear, your spine loses some of its stability. And just like the ankle that you sprained back in high school, you always sprain that ankle. You always sprain it the same way. It's kind of weaker than it was before. Same thing can happen in your neck, and if the proper care is not given, it can really become a nasty situation where arthritis develops into the future because of that lack of stability. So the muscles tearing, the ligaments tearing, those are the main soft tissue things that we deal with after a car accident. We can deal, however, also with a ruptured disc, and if of course, if chiropractic care can't resolve that, your other options are on that or surgery. So it's always good to try the conservative approach first, your chiropractic care, your physical therapy, your exercise, moving into the more invasive things like surgery. And we're going to demonstrate this technique, and I'm just going to show it to you on a neck, which is one of the ways that we can use this is we'll feel a portion of the spine that's not working correctly and is out of its correct position. And here I'm using the double tip, and we'll position it right where we know that bone's out of place. And so we can begin tapping, which begins to build motion into that joint, helping it to move better, be pain-free, and be healthy. And what's unique about this instrument is we apply the force. We can take the patient literally through a range of motion, adjusting this patient where the restrictions are. Now, Les has a restriction going backwards, so we can apply an adjusting force while he extends.
Dr. Owens, what are the dangers of auto accidents?
Auto accidents, provided you didn't get hospitalized or nothing broken or fractures and death can result from auto accidents, but provided none of that happened, the biggest dangers of an auto accident comes about from the mechanics of the injury itself creating a situation where there's chronic pain, specifically in the neck. If we look at the mechanics or the head, you're in your car seat, hopefully your car seat's all the way up, but typically the head will translate backwards when another car hits you, and when it goes backwards, all the structures in the front of your neck will tear. You can get some tearing in the front muscles like the sternocleidomastoid muscle. You can get some tearing in the little ligament that runs down the front of the spine, creating some weakness. Then the head then goes back forward with the potential of tearing muscles and ligaments in the back. Now, when these structures tear, specifically in the back, is what gives us the chronic pain over time research tells us there's little receptors in here called proprioceptors, and they're parts of nerves that get injured. When these get injured, the head doesn't know where it's at in space, and you get the potential for re-injury and chronic pain. So that's one of the biggest things to fix. As we work with you with chiropractic care, getting the bones back in the corrected positions, working with the scar tissue of the muscles and ligaments, we restore it as much as we can to its prior state, and help prevent that chronic pain from happening for like the rest of your life.
Dr. Owens, what is whiplash?
Oh, hey, Les. Whiplash is a term that for the action that the head goes through when you're in a car accident. It's frowned upon by attorneys these days. Kind of has a negative connotation. I'm really unsure why. It's just a descriptive term that, if you imagine the head was the end of the whip, when you get hit by a car, your head goes through those motions, and the spine would be helping to create that. The head would be the end of the whip because it weighs 12, 13 pounds in the average adult. So there's a lot of momentum that can occur. Nowadays we call it hyperflexion, hyperextension injuries, because some car accidents, whiplash per se, don't have one or two of these components. As maybe if you have your headrest set really correctly, you would only have the hyperflexion part of that injury. So you can avoid, with proper safety, with the newer safety implements that are in cars these days, you can help avoid some of this hyperflexion, hyperextension.
What is personal injury protection, or PIP?
That is something that I feel everybody should have on their car. It's one of the add-ons to your car insurance policy. How it works is this. It's your medical insurance. It covers your medical problems when you're in an accident, whether you're at fault or not. So let's say if you're in an accident, you get rear-ended. It's not your fault. Now you know you're covered. You get in a whiplash accident, you get severe rear-ended. You know you're covered. You've got that personal injury protection. What will happen is your insurance company will then go after the other insurance company for the money. You have very little hassles. Your insurance company will pay fairly well to help you handle your injuries. Let's say, for instance, it's not your fault. Let's say it is your fault. Let's say you fall asleep at the wheel and do a header into a tree. You can still use your personal injury protection, file a claim, and in most cases your insurance will not go up. And in fact, I believe, check with your attorney on this, I believe it's a law that your insurance cannot be increased because you use your personal injury protection, even if it's your fault. So personal injury protection covers your injury. In our office, if you were to come see me, we would bill your insurance company. If you were in an accident, we would bill your insurance company, and that covers all your medical expenses. So it's a great thing to have. I recommend everybody get it. It reduces all the hassles if you are in a car accident. Hello everyone, Dr. Owens, chiropractic of Bellevue. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about personal injury, and specifically why it's important to get yourself checked. Everyone's very concerned about getting their car fixed after an accident, and rightly so. It's your transportation, but your body is also your transportation. Let's just take a typical whiplash or flexion extension injury. The head will, if you're impacted from behind, will ramp up, stretch out, extend backwards over the headrest, and then slam forward. If your airbag is there, great. Sometimes the airbag doesn't go off or you don't have one. Those motions create tearing and injury. Insurance statistics will tell you that 90% of people will have pain up to 1 year after an accident. In other words, they may not feel anything for the first 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, and then suddenly start having some mysterious. I want to show you this chart really quick. That's the hidden injury I'm talking about, by the way. So the injury occurs, and you may not. Sometimes you've heard of a sprained ankle. Let's say you've all maybe played basketball, rolled your ankle. What tears is a ligament. Well, when a ligament in the ankle tears, it does take a while to heal. When a ligament in the neck tears, because it's very close to things like nerves, the spine, the spinal cord, it can do a lot more damage and create a lot more instability. Your head weighs 12 pounds, 8 to 12 pounds, almost like a bowling ball. It has to be supported by this. When the head, that bowling ball, gets thrown forward in a car accident, ligaments tear. Ligaments can take up to 44 weeks to heal completely because they're very low blood supply. So that's one of the hidden injuries. The other one, which occurs at a very, very, very small level, is that the nerves inside, the little nerve endings inside of these tissues that are torn, muscle tear there, ligament tear there, spinal cord injury there, but the little nerves inside that tell us where our body is, those can become injured. Specializing in personal injury for over 15 years, I can tell you these things create big problems, and they need very, very, very accurate management. When you're in an accident, you need to get some x-rays to find out if you've got some of these ligament tears, these muscle tears, and if you do, they need to be handled, and they're covered by your car accident insurance at the time. If you wait a year and you settle out prematurely, you won't get the coverage that you should have gotten. So pay attention to yourself. Get yourself and your car fixed and checked after an injury, and then you won't be having pain from those hidden injuries a year later. All right, I'm Dr. Owens, and we'll see you. Thank you for watching my video.